it's Imogen and welcome back to Colouring Kid. I hope you're all doing well. In today's video I'm going to be sharing some recently completed pages that I have done. These were all done over my Easter back, so over a period of about 5 weeks. I will be pre-recording this video and putting it up at some point when I'm at uni so that you still have content to watch. So hopefully when I'm at uni I will have completed a couple more pages, but at the moment I'm just doing completed pages videos as and when I've kind of gathered together enough pages to share. I mean, this still isn't very much, but I've completed 4 pages over the 5 weeks, which for me is a lot, considering that last year, I think in the whole year I completed about 12 pages. So I apologise that it probably won't be the longest video and I've only got 4 pages, but I have some other things to share with you, some artwork that I've done and a page that Marcel's done and a page that my mum's done. So I'll share those at the end, but yeah, I currently just have a couple of whips, which I'm not going to share because I've shown them so many times and I haven't done any more work on them yet. But it's the Brown Bear Wood page, the campfire page, and the Beautiful Planet page that I haven't worked on. I'm hoping to get to the campfire page because I have all the colours set aside and I'd quite like to work on that at some point, hopefully at uni. But yeah, these are all the pages I've done. So I've managed to get to 4 different books as well, which is really nice. And 2 of them are brand new books, for me anyway. So yeah, the first book I want to share with you is Little Secrets from My Fairy House by Clara Markova. Excuse me. So there is a video that I'm going to be putting up at some point. I'm not sure if it will be before this one or after, talking about books that I've abandoned and ones that I want to get back to. And this was one of them. I think in January 2023. I completed the nameplate page. Loved how it turned out, apart from this mat. I loved it, loved how it turned out, and I really wanted to jump back in the book, but I was feeling a bit intimidated and I'd kind of just abandoned Clara Markova's books for quite a while. And this I really like. It's one of my favourite books of hers, I think. And so I was really struggling to pick a page, and then I thought, Imogen, just dive into one, because I had the time over the Easter holidays. These pages take so long for me because there's just so many different elements, but I did start and complete a page probably in about 2 weeks. Now, I started this when Marcel and I were in Devon with my grandparents, and I didn't really get a lot done then. I got some of the house done and maybe, I don't even know if I got any of the berries done, but I basically just started it when I had a bit of time, and then I finished it over the next 2 weeks. It really did take a long time because I'm always conscious with this book in particular and Clara Markova's style about trying not to add too many colours. In the past I've done it before where I've just used too many different colours because there are so many elements on the page. And so for this I just wanted to strip it back and really be more mindful about the amount of colours I was using. So like I said, I started off with the house, and then I knew I wanted all of these translucent objects. So I then did the grass and the sky to help me kind of look at all of the elements. And I think going for a purple sky was the right decision. I think I was either going to do purple or pink because I wanted something that would blend in with the other elements that I'd already kind of pictured in my head as being a certain colour. So I obviously wanted the berries to be purple. And I thought if these are going to be berry flavoured sweets, I'll do them pink. So there were things already kind of mulling over in my head, and with these pages I don't necessarily come up with a pre-conceptualized colour palette. I kind of just go for it. But yeah, this is what I ended up with. I used some paint pens, a gold Jelly Roll metallic pen, some of the Kalira Stardust paint, and the Archie's Paints gold paint. And then I will just talk briefly about how I did the translucent objects. So previously, many years ago, I have done a video on how I colour translucent objects and how I use white ink for those. You can definitely still do that, but I just wanted something a little bit easier for me and something that I had on hand. And that was a Faber-Castell Pitt White Artist pen, the brush pen. You probably could use the bullet tips as well, but I just find the brush pen gives a more even coverage and it's a bit lighter as well. So essentially what I did was I coloured all of the translucent objects as if it was the base layer of the grass. So I still went in with the 2 base colours for the grass, but then I just didn't go in and blend anything else. And instead I went in with a greeny blue colour that would complement it. and just put a few shadows in. And then when it came to doing the Pitt pen, it just gave that nice kind of translucent layer over it without covering up all of the colour. And then I went over with some white gel pen. So that's kind of how I approached it. With translucent objects, especially wings, I used to cover them all with glitter paint, like translucent glitter paint, the Stardust Clearo one. But I just found that your eye was then drawn to that particular part of the page, and I thought if I did that with the wings here, it would just look a bit odd if that was the only kind of really, really glittery bit. So I decided to opt for just some less obvious accents. I did the sweet with a translucent effect as well. This little lantern thing here. And like I said, the wings in the two jar, the potion bottle and the jar here. So overall, I'm pleased with it. I still think it's a little bit haphazard. I think when I got to the end, I was like, I don't want to add any more pencils. So I was trying to use the pencils that I'd already had in the palette. So things like the clothing and the pillows, I just kind of didn't have a proper concrete idea for, so I was just kind of winging it with those. But I loved adding all the accents, especially adding all of the dots here and the extra white gel pen. That's another thing I use, sorry, the Jelly Roll white gel pen and the Posca white pen. I think that's everything, and I think I've completely forgotten to mention the pencils I used. I used Holbein's for this and lots of fine liner in some places, which I'm really glad that I started using a lot more of, because they really help map out the colours for a lot of this. So all of these leaves I used fine liner base, and then for the bigger areas like the grass I didn't use fine liner base, but it just helps some of the smaller objects to kind of pop a bit more. So that's that one, and I'm really glad I've managed to get back to that book now, so it's really exciting. And because I'm working less in books in general, I'm finding I'm not colouring multiple pages in a book in one go. So now that I've coloured in that one, now I've coloured in the ones that I will show with you, that I'll kind of rotate them and focus on other books and come back to them at some point in a few months. That's the aim anyway. So this page I actually just finished yesterday. This is Mein Frühling Spaziergang by Rita Berman. At the time of filming, it's around Easter, so I managed to finish this just in time. I haven't worked in this book for a very long time, and I'm really glad that I managed to get around to it. So this was a page that I'd had my eye on for a while. I was either tossing up between doing this one or this one, but I also really like the trees. That's always been one that I'd like to do, and I would definitely like to come back and do it at some point. But yeah, I ended up going for this. So you might remember last spring I did a page in Walk in the Woods. It was a nest page with feathers and blue eggs, and that feather colour palette, I had just found a feather that I was really interested by online, and I thought, oh, I'd like to try and replicate that on that picture. Fast forward to now, I've now recreated it in Rita Berman's kind of Zentangle form, and I love it. I'm really pleased with how it turned out, and I'm thinking of doing a video at some point about the evolution of different objects in my books and how I've altered them for different styles. So I've done that a lot with the Ivy and the Inky butterfly that sorry, that was a mouthful. I started colouring it ages ago, and then I kind of developed it to use for the Ivy and the Inky butterfly one. So yeah, I might do that at some point. But this was unusually for me on this paper, all polychromos, and I used 12 pencils and that was it. So it was very minimal in terms of the colour palette, which was great because it meant that I could kind of get it done more quickly. I was really focusing in on just a limited colour palette. And I started off by doing the background. So what I always do with these, I take inspiration from Rika Colour in particular for doing these bordered backgrounds. So I think this is a 1 centimetre border, and then I went in with green fine liner. So what I tend to do, instead of doing a harsh black fine liner, I will go in with a close colour to what I'm actually doing for the background so that it blends in. You could also do that with pencil and then just erase it, but yeah, I just quite like doing the fine liner for the backgrounds. And then I went in with 3 different pastels, soft pastels, which I haven't used for so long, and I'm really glad that I used them for the background because it sped it up very quickly. So I did a light lime green for everything. Then I went in with blue over the top to create a darker green effect, and then went over with pink to create the peach effect. and kind of blended them in together. I'm really annoyed because I ended up bending the page at the bottom. You can probably see that there. I'm really annoyed. But anyway. So then I coloured everything. The actual colours for the feather itself were 8 different colours, and then for these elements I ended up adding 4 more colours, which were mainly just base colours. So I added a light green for the leaves, so there was a bit of contrast between these leaves and the green here, and then I used a peachy colour as an undertone, and then went in really lightly with the dark indigo, which I'd used a really kind of in a dark way over here. And yeah, just a red violet I think was another one I added, so it had a bit more of a pinky effect instead of more of a darker brown sort of effect over there. So that was everything pencil wise, and then embellishments I had a lot of fun. I used a Posca white pen, Jelly Roll Gold Metallic, a little bit of my Calerio Stardust paint to put some accents in on the Pussy Willow before I went over with my white Posca. And then down here I've also used one of the mellow colours from the Pentel Hybrid Jewel Metallic set. This is the pink one with green glitter, and I haven't used these in so long. I rarely use glitter gel pens in my work apart from things that I'm not worried about as being as realistic, so something like this. I tend to use glitter, but things like my Layla Dooley books I won't really use glitter or even white gel pen really in them. But yeah, that's how it turned out. I added loads of little lines and dots and things on the feather. I'm not sure how well that's picking up. But yeah, chuffed with that one. Nice quick one. I did that one in 2 days. So it was a very good palette cleanser after I completed the Clara Markovic page, because as I said, that took about 2 weeks. Then I have a page from Fairy Tales and Folklore by Emily Loloberg. I'm very excited to hear that she's coming out with some new books and hopefully some postcards from what I've seen. I'm very, very excited. So this book is gorgeous. I got it when I was at uni and didn't manage to work in it, but as soon as I came back from holidays I started working on this one, and I'm pretty sure I've shown a whip in a video of this. But when I did my book haul I was wanting to keep the pages a surprise for this video just because I don't have many pages to share anyway. So now I can share it. I did this one. Now, despite the paper being really thick, I still didn't want to experiment with water medium. I kind of have a few books in my collection that are just specifically for water media and then or mixed media, and then I stick to everything else being pencil, and that's just the way I like to do it. This paper would definitely take it, but I just really enjoyed using pencils in this book. The paper is gorgeous, and I had a really nice experience working with them because I used Polychromos and Faber-Castell Black Edition pencils, and because they're oil pencils they layered really well, and I found that they were burnishing quite quickly without any issues, and I didn't really have to use a blender pencil at all. So I did all the pencil work. This was done over about the course of a week, I think. So I still took my time with it. I mean, it wasn't the most detailed picture I could have picked, but I wanted something just to ease me into the book. I wanted to do a picture that I hadn't done in my last copy, in the original Sagarok Sagna copy. I wanted to do a completely new image, and that's what I did. So again, a fairly limited colour palette. I took inspiration from Alice in Wonderland, but it could also double off as a Easter page, but I was trying to use some whimsical colours. I really love the mushrooms. I'm so pleased with how they've turned out. I like the added bluey purple and the pink in the leaves. I think that's quite whimsical, and this, I'm not really even sure what this is meant to be, but I kind of did it as magic snow or something on the rocks. So I've got a mix of pink, smoky blue and yellow there. The border I was so chuffed with. Originally I was going to do all of the border in gold, and I thought that would be too much, so that's when I decided to go in with these kind of dark brown violet colours. And then in terms of embellishments, I used the gorgeous gold paint from the Art Spirits, and I can't for the life of me remember which, oh my gosh, what it's called. Fool's Gold, I think it might be. So I used the Fool's Gold lots on all of these dots here, these kind of bead things, on the mushrooms, lots of lines, and I have a really delicate brush that allows me to do all of these nice lines really precisely so that it almost looks like a gel pen, but I wanted it to be sparkly and bright rather than using the gold Jelly Roll Metallic, which is more of a dull muted gold, which I love for using for other things, but this I just wanted a specific effect. All on the stars as well, and then I just went in with the Posca white pen to add some extra lines on the bunny, to add to the fur effect. But yeah, I really enjoyed doing this one, and I'm so glad that I finally managed to get to this book, because it had been sitting there for a little bit at uni and I really wanted to get it to it desperately, and I just hadn't had time. So yeah, that's my first page in this brand new book. Really gorgeous. So that's now not an untouched book. And then my final completed page is from the new book by Kaneko Agusa, Leon's Journey. I adore this book, and again, like the Emily Loloberg book, I really want to get back to it as soon as possible, but I'm conscious of trying to touch other books and work in those before I come back to it. But my ideal situation is doing one page in each of the seasons, but I know that's really unlikely and it's probably not going to happen. So the page I did would also work very well as an Eastery picture. There were some more obvious Easter pages in this book, like this one. I really wanted to go for this, and again I did this over a period of about a week, and this is the result. So I had done some kind of extensive thinking about what I wanted this page to look like, because it was the first page that I was doing in the book. I really didn't want to mess it up, so I actually used ChatGPT to come up with some pictures to help me out, and I never ever really used ChatGPT, and it's only very recently that I've found useful ways of using AI for my art and trying to come up with colour palettes. Although for some reason the image generator thing isn't working for me at the moment. I don't pay for it or anything, so I'm just using it online, and I think it's not very happy when I ask it to do photos for me. But anyway, I just asked it. I had the colour palette in my head. I wanted a purple background. I knew I wanted the bunny to be brown. I wanted the chicks to be yellow, and I wanted green obviously, and then some purple flowers. And I was like, please can you create the colour palette I'm imagining in my head as a as a composition, so that I can see what it will look like together and if it looks as good as what I'm imagining. And then I realised that I forgot to ask it about adding the egg in the ribbon, but actually I had then kind of figured out in my head, I guess, what colours they should be because of the beaks. And I was like, well, where else am I going to put that colour from the beaks? And I was like, oh, I'll do it for the egg because that'll be realistic anyway, and then the ribbon can also be this peachy colour as well. So I started with the background. I still don't think that it's quite as smoothed out as it could have been. I did do a pencil background. Again, I put a border in. I'm not sure if that was necessarily obvious, but I'm glad I put the border in because it does make doing backgrounds so much easier, but it did take a while, so I did kind of pay the price for doing a pencil background. But there was just this open space and I didn't know what to do with it, so just bordering it off makes it so much easier. Then the fur took ages, but I absolutely love doing it. And what I tend to do with all of my fur to try and attempt to make it realistic is I do flicking motions with the pencils and burnish it down, and then I go over with fine liners. So I went over with 2 different fine liners for both the chicks and the bunny. I'm just going to hold it up so you can see. And then I just started filling in everything else. The flowers were quite laborious because I was doing them all the same colour. I didn't want to come up with too many different colour palettes, so all of these purple ones were the same, and then these purple ones and the daisies were just kind of based on the colours that I'd already used. And again, the leaves took quite a while as well, so once the main characters were done, it was a little bit kind of more smooth sailing, I guess. The background grass as well was also something that I struggled with initially because I was doing flicking motions with my pencils. I was trying to layer and layer it up, and then when I burnished it down it lost some of the definition, so again I went in with fine liners, and I like the result now. Happy with that, especially the further you look away I think the better it looks. And again I added some Jelly Roll Gold Metallic on all of the centres of the flowers. The same gold paint by Archie's Paints though, not the Art Spirits one. And then also some Kalero Stardust paint for the lines on the ribbon. I think that was everything. But yeah, again, I'm really chuffed with this and I adore the book and I can't wait to work in it again. It's just so beautiful, so beautiful. So yeah, in terms of getting Easter/spring pages done, I managed to do 3. So I guess you could class the Clara Markova page as a spring page as well, but this just feels more Eastery to me, so that was that one. So yeah, looking forward to getting back to that one. And then I have some other fun things to share with you. So when I was in Devon, I did some painting with Marcel, and I also did a decoupage course thing with him at one of my favourite shops, Paperbird Island. I will have shown these in a haul, which again I'm not sure if it's coming out before or after, but I'm doing a haul of Devon and Norfolk of some things that I got, but I also shared what I made. So in the decoupage thing, we basically pick our own, and then you use paper which is almost like tissue with some glue, and you can create really cool things with it. If you've never done it before, you can kind of see the sheen that you get from the glue. So this took me quite a while because I had to be really careful about doing the body of the butterfly in the darker paper on the front and the back. Then I went in with a base layer with this paper, and then I cut out all of these circles with different papers. So this gold crepe paper, tiny thing, I mean with scissors it was quite difficult, and then I added this kind of bordering on the wings as well, and then used the crepe paper again for the backing and to add some extra bits. So yeah, I'm very happy with that. I'll be taking that to Oxford to have in my room. I really like how that turned out. And then also I painted this. So this, I mean, peacock butterflies are my favourite butterflies anyway, and I'd bought these canvases from Marcel and I. They were £2 from Flying Tiger, and they're really small. If you see, I mean, my hands are quite small, but you can see how small it is. So my plan is to get 2 more of these and try and do 2 more butterflies at some point so I can put them up. But now I'm really worried that now I've done this one, I'm not going to be able to do 2 more. But I'm very, very, very happy with this. It had like a really ugly phase at one point because I had just put random bits of colour down and I hadn't put any of the definition in. I just wanted to get the colour down, and overall I think it worked, but I was really worried for a while there that it wasn't quite going to turn out the way I wanted it to. I did this blue background to contrast nicely from the red, and I just used really cheap acrylic paint. Like I said in the whole video, Marcel and I did some painting during the Oxford term, and I've already shown that that jellyfish painting that I did, but we went to Sausage and Gren and just bulk bought the art supplies, which are now lasting us for whenever we want to do some painting. We got a 12 set of basic colours for about £8. Then we got 3 bigger tubes of white, a pastel pink and a pastel purple, and they were about £2 or £3 each. And then we got the brushes, little palette, and the canvases. So we're all set now really, apart from rebuying canvases whenever we want to work on something. That's the only downside with doing painting compared to colouring. Obviously it's more messy, and also you have to keep rebuying the surface that you're working on, whereas in a book you can just keep working on different pages. So yeah, considering they are just really basic supplies, I am quite proud of this. I haven't ever really been good at painting with acrylic paint. The last time I did that was during my GCSEs for art, and even then I'd never felt like it was my medium. I always much preferred using colour pencil or even watercolours rather than acrylic. So I am learning to kind of get around it and really try and experiment with them a bit more. So that's my painting. So again, I'll be taking that to Oxford, but I've been keeping it on my desk for now. And then I have some pages that my mum and Marcel did. So the one that my mum did was when we were in Norfolk. So I was working on my Clara Markova picture, and she was working in her copy of Layla Dooley's The Flower Year, which unfortunately I don't think you can get anymore. I've been hearing that it's going out of print. It's quite hard to get hold of. So if you can get hold of it, I would try now. You can get the Floribunda yearbook, which is a compilation of this and Floribunda. that she worked on this one. This is the Cowslip, and she picked this one, and I really love how it turned out. And I think she used Holbein pencils. She used a reference image, so I helped to pick out a reference image, and then she worked on this one. Yeah, I think it's beautiful. She's done quite a few in here actually. The snowdrop and the crocus there. We started doing that one, we still haven't finished it. I could have sworn she's done another one. Yeah, she's done those dragonflies and the butterflies and the holly there. So, oh, and the mistletoe. Gosh, she has done quite a lot on there. But you know, if you want to do a colouring session or something together, she just tends to work in this one or the Woodland Watercolour book, which also has a copy of that. Whilst I'm working on whatever I'm working on. So I would love to get back to this book as well, though. I'm hoping to do the Wren, Periwinkle and Wren. I'd love to do that again because I did it originally in my original copy many years ago following the always colouring tutorial. So yeah, it's gorgeous. And then Marcel's page is from Small Victories. I've bought him a copy of Small Victories so that he can potentially do buddy colour things with me or just work on his own stuff. The thing I like about this is it feels very accessible for anyone if they're just starting out, they just want to colour something random. And there are lots of things that I think Marcel would like in this book, especially at the space page. And yeah, there are some really great ones. So he worked on this. I think he used luminance pencils. What I've done now is I've added them to my bundles of colour pencils that I take to uni. So as well as my Faber-Castell Black Edition and the Polychromos, I've added those into my pencil cases. I think I have about 45 or 50 of them, so it's not that many to take. I would love to expand the collection at some point, but I've kind of picked my favourite colours at the moment. But yeah, I love how it turned out. I think considering he's barely done any colouring, let alone art, for years and years, I think his colour picking is really interesting, and I think that he's very good at naturally picking things that work well together. So yeah, I really love how it turned out, and I think he might do the other bird at some point at uni or do painting. He also has a whip from the Asian postcards from Rita Berman that he hasn't quite finished yet, so we will see. But yeah, that's his completed bird, which he did in Devon, so I will be taking that to uni as well for him. And that's everything I have to share with you, so I really hope you enjoyed watching. I know it wasn't the longest video and I didn't have that many completed pages, but I'm hoping that sometime in the summer I will do another completed pages video with hopefully 1 or 2 pages that I might have completed at uni, and then anything else that I work on. I apologise that these are a bit sporadic, but there's kind of no point me doing monthly completed pages because in some months I will literally have nothing to show you. So I hope that's okay, but I'm hoping that with this pre-recorded content there will be regular uploads on my channel over my term, so that I can, yeah, just keep putting the videos out, because I love making them, and I'm glad that I've had some time to actually get some content up for you over the holidays as well, because that's something that I really felt was lacking last time. But thank you so much for watching, and I would love to hear what you're working on. You can contact me as always down below in the description. Yeah, I love hearing from you, especially when I feel like I'm a little bit distanced from everyone when I'm not as active on the channel. So it's really lovely that you guys still watch and comment. It really, really does mean a lot. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. Take care everyone, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye!